In section 1 of the Sweet Juliet handbag, you are going to be assembling your shoulder strap and your crossbody buckle strap. So let's just go over what you're going to require for this section. You're going to need, of course, your crossbody straps, which I've already assembled these, so we'll go over those in a second. You're going to need a ruler, 1/4 inch double-sided tape, a sharp rotary cutter, your poly roller, pair of scissors, a pen, and a damp cloth, as well as some glue. That's why you need the damp cloth. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done these ones, but I'm going to go through the process with the shorter end of the crossbody buckle strap, which is the piece that is 14 inches. Again, I've got my Decaville light attached to the wrong side of one of the strips. So what you want to do is you want to take, I'll just move all this aside, you want to take some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and you want to place that just on the edge of that Decaville light. This strip is 7/8 of an inch wide, so you want to be cutting this piece at 1 inch. So you're going to go just a hair past this Decaville light. You want to place this double-sided tape just past that, catching the Decaville light. Snip off the excess. Same on the other side. Just like this. Smooth that with your finger to make sure it's well attached. Then you're going to take some glue. Now, you can use another piece of double-sided tape here if you wish. I prefer just to add some glue down the center to make sure that my center of my strap is well connected. I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to spread that out, hence the cloth, to get rid of the glue. Peel off the paper of the double-sided tape. And then I'm going to take the piece without the Decaville light and I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to make sure my sides are as even as possible. I'm not going to pull or stretch on this piece because you'll end up with too much down at the end. Just gently place it down. Take your poly roller. Roll the edges very, very well. Now I'm going to cover why I'm using the double-sided tape. When you trim this piece back, you want that double-sided tape to connect your pieces as tight as possible, because when you put your edge paint along the edge, you do not want to have your piece that there's a gap there. So you want to get that as tight as possible. Now, if you prefer to use glue, whether it is a water-based contact cement or just a regular contact cement, then just make sure that you have connected your edges as tight and secure as possible. Now what you want to do is you want to take your ruler and you want to place the ruler at 1/4 of an inch from one side, and you're going to hold tight onto your ruler. You're going to take your rotary cutter and you're going to cut all the way down. Now before I move my ruler, I make sure that I'm clear. My rotary blade needs to be sharpened a bit. There we go. So I've trimmed that off. Get rid of this. I'm going to now align the cut edge that I just did with the 1 inch mark. Make sure I can see it properly here. There we go. And I'm going to trim off this side. Now some of you might think that this is a waste of leather or vinyl on the edges because I tell you to cut these pieces at 1.5 inches. But here's the key. A lot of times we don't cut them evenly, and if you happen to cut a little bit in on your leather or your vinyl and you go to trim it, you may not get a nice clean edge here. So I'd rather just make it a little bit wider and make sure that I have a nice cut. So you can see I've cut along that edge, and it's a nice smooth cut. My pieces are tight together because that's where my double-sided tape is. Now what you want to do next is you want to make some marks, because you have to curve your ends before you do any kind of sewing. So what I generally do at this point is I start at one end, get that little piece off of there, there you go, and I just place a mark at 1/4 of an inch, just like that. Now this piece needs to be 13 inches from this mark to the next mark. So I'll place my ruler down at the 13-inch mark and make another line, just like that. Now I have a little bit extra here, so chances are I've cut this piece a little bit longer than 14 inches. Now you're not going to cut this just yet. You're going to take your template, your strap template, and you're going to place that template down, and you're going to trace around that curve right at that line on both ends. You don't need to mark your holes, you just have to mark your curve. Now you're going to take some scissors and you're going to cut that curve. Now if you happen to have your end punch just like this, which is a nice round end punch, then this is a really good option where you can place that right down there and you can just hammer it and it just pops off the end and gives you a nice clean punch. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to punch these off with this punch. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you, these are the other pieces. So this is your shoulder strap pieces, these two. And you can see I've already gone ahead and placed my lines at the end and curved my marks. And of course, this is my longer portion of my crossbody buckle strap, and I've gone ahead and done the same thing. So these are all prepped and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to punch them off, and we're going to come back and I'm going to show you exactly how to stitch these pieces together. Okay, as you can tell, I have taken and curved off my ends with my punch on both this is a longer piece, so there you go, on both ends. So this is the crossbody buckle strap, and these are your shoulder straps. I've also gone to my sewing machine and I have already done my top stitching, as you can see along here. Now when you go to your machine with the shoulder straps, you are going to be placing your shoulder strap into the ring and folding it forward like that. So you want to make sure that you put your knot on the front side. Now, if you're using two different colors, that is why it's identified with the front side. Plus, sometimes some machines don't have as nice of a bottom stitch as they do on the top. So what you want to do is you want to start at approximately an inch and a half up from the curved edge. You want to go all the way around till you meet that stitch that you began with. You do not want to back stitch at the beginning or the end, and you want to pull your threads to the front. Tie the knots off. You can bury them between the two layers if you wish, or you can take a flame and you can burn off those edges, especially if they are a nylon thread you're using. So those are for the two shoulder straps where you want to pull those to the front. It's opposite for your crossbody buckle strap. You want to make sure that your knot is pulled to the back because you will be folding that backwards like that. So now what we're going to do is you're going to set aside these four pieces, these straps, until you get to section number 3, which is the edge painting. And we're going to now continue with section number 2, which is the prepping of the exterior overlay, as well as a strap tab assembly.